How's it going, guys? So a question came in and it asked how to load your truck in a better sequencing and to load it exactly how you want it. Back in the day when we used to have home delivery, we had the system of the VRP. And with the VRP, there was zone priorities. The zone priorities allowed you to pick one location that you wanted to start with and then move to the end of the route. And you could actually kind of pick and choose exactly how you wanted your truck loaded and exactly how that route would flow. The VSA did something similar when you had your 1000 through your 8000, and then you also had your floor segments. And you could either have your truck start and run numerically, or you could have it kind of jump around where you had your businesses, or I had my residentials in the front, businesses in the back, just making it a little bit easier for load plans for the docks. And for the quick residentials that were kind of more so right up in the front, easier to grab. DRO came out with this program called route sequencing, and that basically brings back what the VRP had with these zone priorities. This allows you to kind of pick and choose exactly how you want your anchor areas to flow, and with that, it will then allow you to load it accordingly. So first things first, I'm gonna go right to the home page. So as you log in, you'll go right to your dashboard. Second, you want to make sure that you hit this Manage tab. You're gonna jump down to anchor areas. Once you get into here, it's important that you choose on the top which route plan you're gonna choose. Today is Monday, so I'm gonna go ahead and assign for tomorrow. It'll bring you up all of your anchor areas. The one thing that was nice about the VRP is that you had over 100 zone priorities to work with. With DRO, you only have 20. So we will get to that here in a second to kind of show you what happens if and when you go over those 20 assignments. So I'm just going to start with this route. It's the easiest one to do. So you're going to get two options on the bottom. There's going to be assigned anchor areas. So this would be if you wanted to move routes, blend routes. I'll do another video that covers that because this is actually a lot easier than going into the route plan setting how it used to be and dragging and dropping. But today we're going to be working under the set priority and sequence. So we're going to go ahead and click that. It's going to give you make one a little bit bigger. That goes. So it's going to give you these four assignments: assign first, assign last, assign sequence. So I'm just going to assign first. He always starts right here. I'm going to go ahead and click save. Next thing now I'm going to jump into assign sequence. This little pop-up window is going to come up, and I will show you how to use that here in a second. So usually it comes up, down, and you'll notice that these numbers are changing. So this is now your zone priority, as it were. This is the sequence that the truck is going to be loaded in now. What's nice about this route is it's literally just a giant circle. So there's really no bad way of doing this, but this one is very easy to kind of explain how to set these routes up. So if you notice right here, I got two 20s. The nice thing, and one thing that we were promised in the beginning of DRO when we started having all of our rollout meetings, and we started having some of the meetings with some of the reps from Pittsburgh saying that DRO would be self-learning over time. This is the self-learning section. So as it starts to follow your sequencing and it starts to develop its pattern, it does it based off of the load plan. So you'll notice how all of these are pretty tight and it flows generally well. He does a little bit of jumping around because unfortunately these routes have some very weird streets, so it's always going to have you jump around a bit. However, when it comes down to these two sections, this is not going to be a problem because that self-learning capability and that self-learning algorithm, as it were, that's programmed into DRO is actually going to take into consideration the close proximity of the next stop. Therefore, these two sections are now going to flow just as numerically and just as logistically as these all of this segment were to flow because they are so close and so small. One thing that you can do if you're having a problem with this is I could, if I wanted to, go ahead and make this section one area. I would just have to go into my anchor area, redraw this anchor area, and make it a little bit bigger. Therefore, that removes another number. So, like I said, I would get back to this menu. So, we're right here, and say I didn't want this to be 19, I made an error on it. I can go ahead and click it off. Now it's gray, now it becomes available again. But if I click on it again, it's going to be 20 because I'm already capped out in my areas. All you have to do is click it gray again, hit this little drop down menu. You're going to scroll down to the number that you want it to be. Just click it again. Now it just changed from 19 or from 20 back to 19. Go ahead and save. Now this territory is done. So let me bring up one more. Not that one. This one won't be horrible. So this is another one of those areas where, like I said, it would be easy to combine these anchor areas. I can make these into one, this into one, this into one, this into one. I don't like to because this territory in itself has a lot of movement and a lot of moving parts, just to try to find that equal balance between this route and its southern counterpart. So I am completely okay with running the multiple 20s. I haven't had too big of an issue because I make sure that I assign my first and my last area, and it does actually sequence it to the proper flow that this driver has a tendency to follow. So I'm just going to go ahead and do assign first. This time I'm going to hit assign last, and you'll notice that it turns this kind of pinkish red color. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that, hit assign sequencing, and now I'm just going to start clicking them off. And so if you see, I just messed up. So I went from 4 to 6. I'm going to go ahead, click that gray, go back down here, hit 5. Now we're back into numerical sequence. And one thing I've noticed when I'm doing this is I have paper maps for all of my drivers. And I actually asked them to trace me out on a map how they do their route. Because they don't necessarily understand the sequencing, they don't see their anchor areas. But if you have them trace that out on a map, then you understand how they flow, how they start their day, where they like to start, where they like to end. And it makes it a lot easier for you to jump in and do these territories. So I'm actually going to go assign first because I forgot this one. So if you notice, I did assign first. So it's going to take this entire area, and he's just going to start up here. This would be no different than if I were to combine these anchor areas and make it one. So this will actually work out pretty well. Typically it has him start in this trailer park anyways and work down into his business section and then kind of flow accordingly. So a couple of key points when you're working with this system: it does have to be done every day. And if you end up doing any moves or you end up transferring any anchor areas from one route to another, you are going to have to go through and resequence the areas that you transfer over. They will, based on the algorithm, follow through with the geographical location of that stop or the pickup. However, if you don't assign it, it can go back to doing some weird things and putting it back where it wants to go. There is a copy and paste functionality on this, but I do not recommend it unless you are running the same plan for consecutive days. In my case, I do not ever use copy and paste because my plan changes, like I said, daily to kind of cater to my driver's needs and who's in that territory on that day. And that's all that I have for you. So, like always, my email will be attached to this. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to comment or shoot me over a message, and I will get back to you as soon as I can.